Cover One crew, what is going on? Hope everybody's doing great. I'm fabulous. Chris Chow's back again with y'all as we enter the weekend. Once again, Super Bowl 57 is upon us. Get ready, get that popcorn, get that beer. It's going to be a hell of a show, no kidding. So, you know what? I thought we'd continue down the off-season trend of NFL draft. This way too early mock draft, 2023 NFL draft. And I mean, it's interesting because there's going to be a lot of moving parts. So far, what I decipher from all of my, scouting thus far, I mean, I'm still early in the process. It's still going to be a lot to dissect and do. But I mean, what I decipher right now, the drop-off in this draft is quite handsome when it comes to, top-end talent. And there is a lot of good talent in this draft. A lot of good secondary pieces. Defense is going to be very solid. I do like the defensive backs in this draft a lot. I think there is quality players at that respect. And the way the NFL is going, it's edge rushers and it's defensive backs that are starting to, dominate round one of the draft. So, I mean, let's go. We got a ton of players we got to talk about, all 32 teams. And I got your first way too early mock draft for y'all. So, I mean, let's kick it off and see where it goes. So before we get started, let me ask y'all to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you dig the content. Truly appreciate it. Helps us grow this channel that much more. But let's start off with pick number 1, the Chicago Bears. I'm not putting any trades in this one. It's way too early to do that. I'll do that in a couple when I do like my other mock drafts. But number 1, Chicago Bears, Will Anderson, edge rusher, Alabama. And I mean, they got to revamp everything on that defensive side, right? I mean, the trading of Khalil Mack already for a couple seasons now. And I mean, you got to understand that it's time to rebuild. They're going to go likely with a Justin Fields, as the Chicago Brass and Brain Trust have said. They are not going to go with a Bryce Young. And at number 1, they will look to trade back likely. But if they stay at 1, I think Will Anderson is a great player for them. He's one of the best edge rushers in this draft, and you're going to see it. I know a lot of people are bumping up Jalen Carter a lot from Georgia, but I think they need that edge rushing presence back on this defense. Start to rebuild what the Bears are good at, and Will Anderson's a good one. Houston at number 2, Bryce Young. They will not pass up Bryce Young, and I think he's a good, quarterback to have and start off with. Could C.J. Stroud be here going to Houston? I could definitely see it as well. Not out of the realm of possibilities, but you got a Bryce Young who is going to be pro-ready. He understands the systems, understands the games, coming from the SEC, and I mean, new head coach in D'Amico Ryans. He's going to want an offense, and what's great about it is that Bryce Young, the NFL does this a lot now, the copycat. So if John Mechie, fingers crossed, comes back from the cancer, and he's on the field, there's instant chemistry between Bryce Young and John Mechie, and then you got Dameon Pierce in the backfield. That's a pretty nice 3 you can have it to start off, the coaching career of D'Amico Ryans in Houston, so that's going to be interesting. Number 3, the Arizona Cardinals, Jalen Carter from Georgia, defensive line, and I mean, he's a beast. He is an absolute terror on the line in Arizona, losing J.J. Watt. They're going to have to replace that, so Carter is an easy fill-in play, and it's a great, they're going to need the defense this year because, Kyler Murray's likely out for a long stretch, likely going to start the year on the pup. He may be out for some time as well. So, I mean, they're going to need that to ride that defense, and Jalen Carter is going to be a good fit in that system. Number 4, the Colts. We got C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, and here's a, perfect marriage for a team that, has a lot of playmakers. They got Jonathan Taylor. Hopefully they can improve the offensive line this year and play better than what they did last year. But if you put a C.J. Stroud in Indianapolis with a Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman, get ready, man. You're going to see Indianapolis turn around everything in that franchise real quick, and I think C.J. Stroud is legit. Like I told y'all, if you watch the Boom and Bust with C.J. Stroud video with C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Number 5, Seattle via Denver. They're going Miles Murphy, edge rusher from Clemson. And it's time, okay? So Geno Smith, he shocked the world, shocked everybody, played extremely well, and now we know that Seattle can be somewhat legit. They made the playoffs. Yes, they squeaked in, needed some help, but, I mean, Seattle definitely needs to start improving this defensive side of the ball. This is how you do it. You get a very good edge rusher from Clemson. He's going to absolutely help out the cause on that defensive side. The Detroit Lions at number 6 via the Rams in that trade for Stafford. And what do the Lions need more than anything? Defensive backs and secondary. They need it so bad, like a fat kid needs cake. because, I mean, everyone was gashing them. Yes, they've improved, man. The Detroit Lions look very good, and what are they doing? Joey Porter, Penn State. I'm a huge fan. I've always been an admirer of what Penn State does on the defensive side, and Joey Porter is probably one or two of the top defensive backs in this draft. I like his game a lot. I think he's very good, and I think playing in Detroit with Okudah, I think is going to be a stroke of genius. As Detroit continues to improve their defensive secondary, Aiden Hutchinson, he's got the line on lock now. They're getting pressure after the quarterback. You get a guy like Porter to be on the defensive end, or the defensive backfield, you're going to see that turn around very quick for the secondary in Detroit. The Las Vegas Raiders at number 7, Peter Skoronski, offensive tackle from Northwestern. He's basically right now the consensus top offensive tackle in this draft. And depending on where they go, I could have went quarterback here, but we're hearing all the rumors that Aaron Rodgers might be going to the Rams. Fine. Devontae Adams is trying to, impress upon ownership to trade for his services. Fine. We'll see how that goes. So I'm going to go offensive line. They need to revamp this line a lot, and we'll see how they start to continue to build, as we've seen that the head coach, McDaniels, he wants to bring in his own guys, so maybe he starts with the offensive line build, and then maybe they go get an Aaron Rodgers. We'll see. Atlanta at number 8, I'm going to shock a lot of people, and I'm going Jordan Addison from USC, first receiver off the board, and he's a stellar prospect. You cannot, turn around these guys, or you cannot, give up the opportunity to have these guys on your roster, I should say, and I mean, teaming them up with guys like Kyle Pitts and Drake London, you got a trio of playmakers that I could even throw the ball to, and we could be successful. Desmond Ridder would be smiling ear to ear to see a Jordan Addison put on this team. Yes, he's starting to fall down boards, but that's a good thing for him, because, I mean, he's probably going to get on a better team, and the Atlanta Falcons would be foolish to let him go, even though they do have other needs. I get it, but you got a young quarterback you're trying to develop in Desmond Ridder. Jordan Addison and Drake London would be an absolute terror on the field, especially when Kyle Pitts comes back as well from his injury. They're going to be absolutely lights out if they go get an Addison. Number 9, Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna rock it a little bit and say Will Levis here from Kentucky, quarterback. And am I fully convinced on him right now, on Levis? It's tough to say. I mean, he's got extreme zip on the ball. He can throw the ball with so much velocity, but is he accurate? Is there going to be, growing pains and time for him to, sit on the bench and wait and see, learn the pro game, learn the systems? It's very possible. So that's why I'm putting him here. Frank Reich is the new head coach in Carolina, so maybe they go with a veteran path still, but there's not a whole heck of a lot that they're going to get unless they go for a trade again. So I think Will Levis is one of these guys that you could put on this team and say, can we develop him? Can we, it's going to be a 4-year plan with him, I do believe. 3 to 4 year plan. Hopefully year 3 we start to see him turn a corner, but it's not a bad pick, as Frank Reich is going to have a lot of rope as he's just got hired on as the head coach. Number 10, the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Likely, hopefully going to be Super Bowl champions via the New Orleans Saints at number 10. They're going to go Tyree Wilson, edge rusher, and we're going to see, because they're going to have some retirees. They're going to have some guys leave. Fletcher Cox likely out the door as well. They're going to have to revamp the edge rushing presence and get after the quarterback. Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech is a very good one. Top-end talent that he's going to be able to fit in on that Eagles defensive line with ease, because there's so many good playmakers, and I think it's a perfect fit for the Eagles as well. The rich continue to get richer in Philadelphia. They get themselves a Tyree Wilson. He's a damn good one. Number 11, Tennessee Titans. They're going to go Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle from Ohio State. You got to revamp the O-line. We'll see what they do at the quarterback position. And, I mean, could they go QB here? That would be crazy, because they just drafted Malik Willis. So I do believe either you're going on the defense or you got to fix this offensive line just a little bit more. I think they're going O-line, because this offense still runs through Derrick Henry, man. Number 12, Houston Texans via the Cleveland Browns. And I think they're going to go Quentin Johnson, TCU. And this will be great, man. You got Mitchie, you got Nico Collins, and now you got a Quentin Johnson. That's a pretty damn good, receiving core that you can use. And, I mean, Bryce Young, if they draft him, is the quarterback, and Dameon Pierce. That's a very tough offense to play with. The offensive line is still decent enough in Houston that they could make plays with some playmakers, and this thing could get turned around extremely quick if you're drafting players like Bryce Young and Quentin Johnson, because it's going to be a terror on the offensive side. No kidding. I do believe that defense has already turned a corner in Houston. That's why I'm going offense right now. But they're going to have to add more on the defense, no kidding. But I do believe they got enough playmakers to at least start the build right now. But go offense and try to, at least put some points on the board, because last year you were dreadful, and I think it's time to do that. Number 13, the New York Jets. I'm going to shock some people here too. Michael Mayer, tight end, Notre Dame. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Elijah Moore. Fine, they don't use Elijah Moore. I understand, but that's Zach Wilson's problem. Now, if they're really honestly, if the Jets are truly thinking about going after a veteran quarterback, could it be an Aaron Rodgers? Could it be a Derek Carr? We shall see, but they need a tight end. So you add a tight end like Michael Mayer to this offense with a Garrett Wilson, with an Elijah Moore. Good Lord, man. You bring Breece Hall back. This is one of these offenses that's going to be extremely scary to, play against. I was going to think about going defensive back, but that team played very well defensively. I think you continue to add on the offensive side, add weapons like these guys, and if you get the quarterback and you hit on it right, Michael Mayer could be one of these Rob Gronkowski guys that is just going to be lights out, productive in an offense, especially with a guy like Garrett Wilson. There's going to be no double teams anywhere, especially when you got Mayer on the team, man. Number 14, the New England Patriots, Cam Smith, defensive back, South Carolina. There's a lot of needs on this New England team. They don't draft wide receivers well. I was thinking, maybe I do it, but Bill Belichick can't, draft a wide receiver to save his life. I'm going to stick with the defensive side. They continue down that path, revamping this team on the defensive back core. Cam Smith is a very good defensive back. He will pay dividends instantly. Kind of feels like a Bill Belichick guy to me. That's why I'm going with him here at 14. Number 15, Green Bay Packers. Broderick Jones, man, offensive tackle. Georgia, they need to continue down this path. Okay, if Aaron Rodgers isn't the quarterback here in Green Bay, then it's Jordan Love. You're going to have to protect this man because Aaron Rodgers has not had the luxury of having great offensive lines in his career in Green Bay. Give Jordan Love at least some benefit of the doubt and give him some more protection because Jones is a beast of a man, and he will definitely anchor one of the sides of the line, man. Number 16, Washington Commanders, the Commies. I'm going Keely Ringo, defensive back from Georgia. Okay, and I mean, Georgia's going to have a lot of draft picks, no kidding. I've seen a lot of noise right now on Ringo kind of moving up and down a lot of people's boards. I'm still convinced, yes, he does have some inadequacy in his game that he does need to clean up. He does use his speed a little too much, his problems throttling down from time to time, but Ringo is a very good talent in my opinion, and I think that with some good coaching and, some more reps, he is a 2-year starter, 5-star prospect going into college, so I do like Ringo a lot, and I think that, he would pay dividends on a defense in Washington that is absolutely, very, very good and put together, especially in that front seven. They just got to round out the defensive backcourt. Number 17, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett, and I mean, this has been a problem since we've seen Big Ben retire as the offensive line. So I'm going Anton Harrison, offensive tackle, Oklahoma. And okay, at this point, you could go maybe interior line. Maybe you go more defense. And I could see Pittsburgh going defense here as well. Go get themselves an edge rusher because, I mean, they're all about the defense on Pittsburgh. But at some point, you got to fix this offensive line. You got a young quarterback. Yes, Kenny Pickett did play well, but we saw what Najee Harris wasn't able to do last year. And I do believe it all stems a lot from that offensive line and how porous they did play. You go get yourself a Harrison, this offensive tackle. It'll instantly improve your outlook and hopefully protect the young Kenny Pickett. Number 18, Detroit Lions get another pick here, the second one, and I'm going again on defensive back and Antonio Johnson, safety from Texas A&M. So I give you two of the better players out of this draft at the position. I give you Joey Porter, and then I go back and I give you Antonio Johnson. I think that's absolutely stellar. You team that up with an Okudah. Now you have a defensive backfield that is going to be one to be reckoned with in Detroit. Your offense was fine. You figured it out. You're getting Jameson back to full health. You got him on Ross St. Brown. You still got DeAndre Swift. Jared Goff's able to support the offense. It's time to start building this defense in Detroit, and you get two youthful talents in the defensive backcourt, one at safety, one at defensive back to go along with an Okudah. Good Lord almighty, Detroit, you're going to be laughing and smiling very soon because that's how you rebuild a club. And, I mean, the coach definitely is biting off kneecaps and gets everybody ready right now because they look good. And I'm a big fan of what's happening in Detroit. I'll tell you that, especially if they do what I'm saying here. Number 19, Tampa Bay. No Tom Brady. He retires. I'm going Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida. I see it's very viable. Now that Tom is gone, you're not going to necessarily roll with Kyle Trask. Really, who are you going to go? You going to go get Jameis Winston off the free agent market again? I highly doubt that. So You're basically in a situation where Tampa Bay, they can't expect to compete without a Tom Brady for, high-end playoff upside. They were, 8-9 going into the playoffs with Tom Brady on the, back end of his career. So you go get yourself a quarterback. Anthony Richardson is an interesting prospect. He's got the size. He's got the strength. He's got the intangibles and the potential. Can he put it all together? He's only played, 15, 16 games in his college career. So there is a lot of growing pains. He is extremely raw, but he has all the talent for days, and if you invest the time and coach him up right, there is a very high possibility that he could be a very good franchise quarterback and a bargain here at number 19. Number 20, the Seattle Seahawks with their second pick, continuing down the defensive build. Trenton Simpson, linebacker from Clemson. And, I mean, this is what I'm saying. You go and you get yourself some high-end defensive talent, and you will rebuild this thing very, very quickly. Yes, I did put 2 Clemson players going to Seattle, but you got to take best player available. And I think, Trenton Simpson is one of these versatile linebackers that can go field, end to end and make life very difficult and assist the edge rushers as well. I think he'd be a very good fit here in Seattle. Number 21, Miami's pick is forfeited due to their issues and suspension, so we're going to pass that one. Number 22, the Los Angeles Chargers. Here's the shocker. It's Bijan. I got Bijan going to the Chargers, and everyone's going to say, what are you doing? They still got Austin Eckler, but they've been flirting with this secondary running back for far too long. The defense they built very well in free agency, and yes, okay, they had lapses. They could probably go defensive line here. But you got a thoroughbred like a Bijan Robinson. Could you imagine the backfield troubles that this team is going to possess if they have a Bijan and an Austin Eckler on the same team? This is music to Justin Herbert's ears. New offensive coordinator as well. So, I mean, Kellen Moore. So you're going to see this is maybe the Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard effect, and you go and draft a Bijan Robinson in L.A. Keenan Allen may no longer be there. So maybe there's the rumblings that Keenan Allen may be released this offseason from L.A. So maybe there's a possibility they kind of shift the offensive, scheme a little bit more, kind of something similar to Zeke and Pollard. So I like myself a Bijan 2 in LA Chargers. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal if he does go here. He's a Saquon Barkley, and then, Eckler's 27, 28 years old. Eventually he's going to fall off the wagon. You got a Bijan right behind, and I mean, you can save him, do split carries for 2 years, and then maybe Austin Eckler's out the door, and then you got a thoroughbred being your number one back with a young quarterback. How can you hate that if you're the LA Chargers? I like it a lot. Bijan to LA. Number 23, the Baltimore Ravens. They're going Jackson Smith-Njigba. And I don't really expect him to fall this low. I really don't, but it is very possible based on how much talent there is on the defensive side, like I mentioned at the top of the show. But Jackson Smith-Njigba is one of my favorite talents in this draft. I think he's an elite prospect. A lot of people are now sleeping on his services, and I don't know why. They're saying he's not a true wide receiver, blah, blah, blah. He reminds them only of Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is good, but it's not the elite, Jamar Chase. Do I think Jackson Smith-Njigba is Jamar Chase? No. But do I believe that he is a game wrecker and can take over games? Absolutely. And I'm not convinced with all these guys on the naysaying that his speed isn't there. Njigba can run, and he's got athletic ability for days. He is going to be a fabulous piece, especially if Lamar Jackson does stay in Baltimore, which I am thinking he's going to, because you're hearing rumblings they're going to franchise tag Lamar. They're not letting him walk out the door. No way, no how. Number 24, Minnesota, Devin Witherspoon, defensive back from Illinois. Here we go. Minnesota had issues as the year went on, covering the wide receivers and just getting gashed by the opposition of quarterbacks. So you got to add to that, okay? Patrick Peterson had lapses, played well at times early on in the season. You got to continue down this path. Yes, I know the defensive line is an issue as well, but you got to go to the well here, and you got to get a guy like Witherspoon who is, flying up boards right now. He may not be here at 24 come draft day because he definitely is catching a lot of steam. Number 25, last final picks we got here, the last, 8 picks. The 25th pick is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to go. They're going to continue to build on this defense because they did, answer a lot of the questions on offense this past offseason, and they get Calvin Ridley back. So I'm going to go Brian Branch, defensive back safety from Alabama. He's kind of that Swiss Army knife. You can put him anywhere, plays defensive back, plays nickel, he plays linebacker some. So, I mean, he's a Swiss Army knife that can be very versatile for a Doug Peterson in this defense that already has a lot of talented edge rushing presence. So I like the fact that you add more to this defensive backcourt, rebuild this defense that much more. As long as Trevor Lawrence continues to progress, you give him a defense to give him a couple more possessions per game, and you're going to see the Jaguars do some wrecking this upcoming season. Number 26, the New York Giants, the Big Blue, and I mean, they're going to go Brian Breesy, defensive tackle from Clemson. you just got to add to that defensive front, man. You're playing against teams like the Philadelphia Eagles who run the ball with extreme efficiency. You got to be able to stop and stifle that. So you got to continue to add and move forward. Leonard Williams not happy. They may release him this offseason as well. Being a cap casualty, his pay is really high. You got to start revamping, putting some more, fillers in the cupboards for this defensive front, and I think Breesy's a definite good one. Number 27, the Dallas Cowboys, Clark Phillips, defensive back from Utah. He is kind of that nickel back, forte for him. So, you got a guy like Travion Diggs. Put a guy like, Clark Phillips in the slot from Utah, and you're going to see, man, that this defense is going to continue to build. We'll see how it goes with the running backs with Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard, etc. They do have wide receivers still. We'll see how they go in that regard, but I do believe you got to continue, especially with how the Eagles play. The Washington Commanders are on the ups and ups, especially with Sam Howell, who I believe in very well. I think it's going to be an interesting pick, and Dallas should definitely go defensive back. Number 28, the Buffalo Bills, my Bills Mafia. I got him going with Josh Downs. And why not? Okay, I get it. A lot of Bills fans going to be like, no, we want offensive line here. Completely understand. And I would not hate an offensive lineman here at 28. However, if you got a guy like Josh Allen, do not waste any more of his years because he needs more talent. And you get yourself a Josh Downs with a Stephon Diggs, good Lord, get ready because Josh Downs is just a dog. He is one of the best slot talents that I have seen coming out of college football in a very long time. And, I mean, you just put on any, tape that he has played, and he's making plays all over the field. His hands are like glue. He's got ability to break free with great route run ability and separation. He would be an absolute nightmare to defend in this Bills offense, and Josh Allen would instantly become his best friend because he's just going to get open 24/7 like 7-Eleven, baby. That's just how it goes. Number 29, Cincinnati, I'm going Christian Gonzalez, defensive back. They're going to have to likely replace an Eli Apple, so you got to go to the well just a little bit. Go get yourself, this kid's from Oregon. He's a good talent, good player. I still want to cover a little bit more of his film to, put the staple on the fact that I do like his game. But 29, he may not be here when it comes draft time as well. Like I said, so many defensive backs going to be flying off this board because that's what the NFL is these days. It's a passing league. You got to have people to defend it. Number 30, the New Orleans Saints via the San Francisco 49ers. They're going to go Nolan Smith, edge rusher from Georgia, UGA, the national champions. And again, they could go multiple ways here. There's not really a quarterback you're going to take at this point, likely. So, I mean, continue the build on the defensive side. I was thinking there is potential to get another wide receiver like a Zay Flowers. But, I mean, what's the quarterback going to be in New Orleans? That's why I kind of went to the defensive side. Keep building the defensive line. Keep that being the strength of this team as we sit today. And Nolan Smith is a very good talent that is, again, being slept on right now. And I don't understand why. He's absolutely stellar. And I think he would add a lot to this defense here in New Orleans. Number 31, the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to peg them as the Super Bowl losers right now, but hey, that could be definitely wrong. I'm going to go with Jordan Battle from Alabama, safety. And the Kansas City Chiefs, okay, they proved the fact that they could go to the free agent market, go get some wide receiver talent, still make it to the Super Bowl. So what do they require more than anything is more defensive talent. You get themselves a safety like Battle that can play in an Andy Reid system. And, I mean, young talent, they drafted McDuffie this past year. You're going to now you become a big problem on the defensive side. You give Patrick Mahomes, the ability to have a shutdown defense. You got Frank Clark. You got Chris Jones. These guys are animals, and they're going to go after the quarterback every single time. You add a Battle to this defense, and goodness, man, you got Tyrann Mathieu all over again. Obviously not the same talent, but the same type of productivity, highly likely. But I like Battle to Kansas City. I think that's an absolute steal of a pick for them. Number 32, the Philadelphia Eagles finish off first round, and they're going to go Emmanuel Forbes, defensive back from Mississippi State. And again, this guy's climbing up boards as well. Here we go again, defensive pick for the Eagles. This could be offensive line, would not be surprised as well. We do know that Kelsey is likely going to be retiring the center from for the Eagles, so maybe they go interior lineman that can be a swing center. Who knows? We shall see, but I like defensive back. Continue to add to the strength of your team, which is this defense. Cap casualties will happen because, I mean, they pay a lot and they got a lot of strong talent, but there you go. That is the first round, my first way too early mock draft, but it's a good one. I think there's a lot of great talent in this NFL draft this year. So I realize it is way too early for a mock draft, but it is fun to speculate as we sit today. This list will obviously change. The board is going to change. We got pro days. We got the NFL Combine. So, I mean, a lot of things are going to change. But it's good to get a pulse check to see where we are today. And like I said, defensive backs, wide receivers, we could see a couple more wideouts dropped in this first round also because, I mean, there is a huge sharp drop once, Zay Flowers and company get picked off if we go in order of rank right now. It is a pretty solid drop-off after that. So you're going to think that defensive backs are going to get picked clean as well as those wide receivers. But there is a lot of talent on the playmaker side. No kidding about that. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments. Give me your thoughts. Who's your favorite talent coming into this NFL draft? Throw them in the comments. I'm not shy. Say hi. Do whatever. Put a comment down, man. Let me know you're there and you're listening, because I like to talk to people. But nevertheless, as always, we'll see you next time. I am out.